How many of you guys right now are feeling like life's stress is starting to show up everywhere in your life, on your face, in your body, in your skin? And I want you to know you're not alone because midlife women, we have become so accustomed to juggling everyone's needs while neglecting our own. It's a practically a full-time job for all of us. And it's actually aging us faster than we realize. And so in this week's episode, we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about the surprising connection between cortisol and stress and how it affects your aging process and how it even affects your skin and your body. So I will go over some very simple, free things that you can do to help your body move from the drastic lifestyle of burning yourself out over into how to take care of yourself. What a novelty. I want to help you be able to face yourself in the mirror and really know that you love and adore yourself and you're doing everything you can to nourish and take care of yourself. So let's go ahead and jump in. I don't know. Are you feeling overwhelmed lately? I think a lot of us are. We've had these storms that we've been seeing in the news. Milton is happening right now in some very dear friends of mine's hometown. And so it's been on my mind. Also, what's interesting about fall, and I really believe that the Lord designed everything for a purpose and a reason, and fall is literally teaching us how to let go, just like the leaves are letting go and preparing us into a season of rest, which is winter. And so what's crazy is we come off of this season of harvest, right, where we're pushing and working hard. And somehow we end up pushing ourselves to work even harder. And I've been feeling it, the weight of the storms. I've also been feeling it because my email broke and we were working on taxes. And I even, through just everything you may have noticed, I skipped 2 weeks of live streams. And that's just not normal for me, but I felt myself feeling super overwhelmed. And stress, it's not just going to be affecting our mood, but it does affect our bodies. It affects our minds, our spirits, and our bodies all in a way that it's not great. And it's doing it faster than we realize. It's one of those things that if you were to put your foot to the pedal in a car, you're going to burn out of gas pretty fast. And so you've got to learn when to use that push and when to let off and rest. And so just recently, it showed up in my skin. It showed up in my sleep. I even started having aches and pains in my muscles because I was not paying attention to the signs that my body was telling me that I was stressed. And so, if you're not feeling overwhelmed with all the stuff that's going on in the world right now, you must be superhuman. I think we've all felt it. So, let's go ahead and talk about how stress, how it does this to our bodies and how we can actually get back in tune and go through this season in a way of truly letting go and taking care of ourselves. When we're moving through survival mode, we're dealing with stresses day after day. And the first thing that we usually do is we stop taking care of our bodies and we stop taking care of our minds and how we think and process. We might stop our quiet times and stop taking care of our spirits. We may stop doing a couple of other things self-care wise and eating badly or dehydrating. And before we realize it, what we've done is we've actually put more stress onto our bodies, which increases the level of stress that happens in our mind, in our spirit, in our bodies. And so what ends up happening is we end up producing more cortisol. Cortisol is that hormone, the stress hormone, and it affects everything, our mood, everything. So it's not just our skin and our health that we're talking about today and how we age, but of course, that's what we talk about here in this group. And so we'll be talking more about it. But in nature, fall is a time of releasing, of letting go, of celebrating that harvest and just kind of taking that deep breath. Right? And it's our bodies crying out for a break. And so it creates a constant state of cortisol when we continue to put that stress on ourselves and push and push and push. So when we're doing that, as far as talking about our health and our skin, it breaks down the collagen. If you don't remember what I said about collagen before in one of the previous episodes, if your skin was like a mattress, the collagen is like the stuffing in the mattress, and then your elastin is like the coils in the mattress. And so when you're reducing that collagen, you don't have that bounce back. You don't have that youthful rejuvenation. And often too, you lose the glow, you lose the nice redness and pink in your skin. It just starts going dull and dry. So, none of us really love that. And it accelerates that aging process. It's not just you age when you're stressed, you actually accelerate it. Just like I just said, when you put your foot to the pedal in the car and you're burning it, you burn it out more quickly. So I'll admit, over the past couple of weeks, I've not done a great job of handling my stress, and I found myself in an actual spiral, which isn't good. And I was resisting my body's signal telling me, slow down, go to bed early, drink some water, right? And I was just trying to stay on top of everything. And I was trying to make sure that I was taking care of everyone in my world. And because I was doing that, I was increasing my anxiety and I wasn't even taking care of myself. So I piled on all those extra tasks, trying to make up for those setbacks of my broken email and all those things. And I was exhausted and dehydrated. And of course, my skin turned dry and flaky, and all of my wrinkles just got more intensified. And then I just hit complete shutdown. And so I now have come to the realization it was probably good we skipped 2 weeks, because we were going to talk about this 2 weeks ago. And then I went through a little mini stress meltdown. So now I can talk about it with a little bit more experience. But how many of you have found yourself in a similar spot recently with all the stuff going on? We're on the verge of world wars and things like that. And so we're all finding ourselves kind of in this stressful place. So if you're just feeling overwhelmed and it's showing up in your skin or in your health or in your body, go ahead and put a comment in here. Maybe put a raised hand emoji in there so that we can all just know that we're not in this alone. So let's go ahead and talk about a little bit what cortisol actually does to us. When stress hits, our bodies need a certain level of cortisol just to keep us running from the bears and all the things, right? But when the cortisol levels go up, this hormone, it actually starts breaking down collagen. It leads to the more wrinkles and sagging, like we talked about. It can also trigger an inflammation. So we might actually start being more susceptible to picking up bacteria and viruses and things like that. You might even find stress breakouts on your face or redness. Rosacea can be also caused from stress. And just beyond our skin, sleep can be affected. And then once your sleep's affected, other things start taking place, right? Your mind can't track things very well. Your energy levels start dropping drastically. And so all these small things that we think aren't a big deal, they actually pile up and make a big difference. So, how many of you literally have taken time to slow down this week to actually breathe through things and give yourself a moment to just calm down? One of the best things that we can do for letting go in this season is just to learn how to intentionally breathe. And, there's a simple breathing technique that we can do to do this. You find a quiet place, because obviously if you're in a high energy traffic area, it's going to be a little bit harder to do, but relax your body. And this, what I like to do is I like to close my eyes. I like to literally visualize, like just relaxing every muscle coming down my face, my head, my ears, my jaw, my mouth, my neck, my shoulders, and I move all the way down my body until I get to my toes. And somehow that alone, without even doing the breathing just yet, really just takes that stress levels and drops it drastically. And then when you're in that position, you can start focusing on the breath. I like to do the box breathing. Breathe in through the nose for 4 seconds, and then hold for 4 seconds, and then release for 4 seconds. And even just 2 minutes of this really, really drastically changes things. I wear a Samsung watch, and I've been able to track my stress literally drop drastically. So if you have a watch, it is kind of fun to see it take place. But go ahead and try this breathing exercise sometimes, or try visualizing just that restful breathing. If you find yourself in traffic and you're getting stressed about it and you're at a stoplight or something, Don't close your eyes, but just do that visualization of relaxing every muscle and see if that can help. It's not worth stressing out about that and letting it age you and burn you out. It just isn't. And the crazy thing about stress is it has a way of creeping in on us. I'm sure you have experienced that, especially during this time of year. There's a lot of things that we're doing, and it just feels like there's so much that we're trying to wrap up before the end of the year. We've got the holidays coming. And here's the thing, just like nature knows when to rest, we need to know when it's time to just let go and when it's time to ramp up. Because I've been juggling taxes. I deferred my taxes for the first time ever, and I hope I never do that again because this season already comes with a lot of intensity and excitement. I don't need to add that to my plate anymore. But I found myself hitting a wall. I think I just even went through shock. And this is just not normal for me, but my body literally shut down. And it took that before I realized I had pushed myself too far. I'm one of those people, I get motivated very easily. I don't need anybody to encourage me to keep pushing forward. But I guess I do need the encouragement to be reminded to slow down. So that's what burnout looks like. And sadly, like I said, it ages us faster than we think. So who else feels constantly like they're running on empty right now? Just trying to keep up, taking care of everyone. Also, if you still have children in your home, this is a busy season when you're trying to do a lot of things for your kids. School applications are all starting to go out. And so for sure, yeah, I can totally relate with you about all the things that are going on. And here's what the problem is. When you're in this constant state of stress, those cortisol levels, they stay elevated for longer periods of time than they're meant to be. And so that doesn't just leave us feeling exhausted. It leads to inflammation. And if this inflammation stays in a chronic place, you might find yourself with autoimmune disorders taking place, or adrenal fatigue, or thyroid disorders. And because those are all endocrine and hormonal systems that come into play. And really, truly, when I am repeating myself and almost intensely begging you to slow down, that is why I care so much about your health. I care that you show up for the world, the best version of you, and that you aren't stuck. I spent 13 years in bed most of the time because of burnout and adrenal and all the other things that were going on. And so I don't want that for you. I want you to be able, so it is about skin. I love when your skin glows, but I also want you to take care of yourself so that you can show up in your life. Burnout, it does affect every sense of your being, your mental state, your physical state, your spiritual state. And if you've been feeling this way, you're not alone. The world is full of people right now feeling like this. And so you may want to go get a support group for this, right? But for me, it took reaching that point of burnout and numbness, barely being able to keep up with myself. My hydration suffered, my skincare suffered, my sleep suffered, my body, my muscles ached, my daily routine, it just couldn't even keep up. And I didn't even realize I was in this cycle when it was all happening. Just constantly chasing down piles and piles of stress onto myself. It was just crazy. And here's the sad part. When I got to thinking about it, most of those stressors were actually self-imposed. And I will explain more about that. But my body and my mind were literally screaming out and signaling for me to pause. And it wasn't until I hit that wall that I finally understood. It was like that big aha moment. Like I needed to let go of the pressure that I was putting on myself. And so if you ever have reached that place of complete burnout, I know some people, they actually end up in depression during this time frame because you literally can't hold on to any other emotions. You can't, it's just, you hit such a burnout. And so definitely, if you actually have strategies that have worked out for you and you have figured out how to even overcome this, please put it in the comments, share with the world, like let's help each other out, right? But to break this cycle, I just want to introduce you to the 3 R's, and those are rest, reset, and restart. And so rest is just about allowing yourself to rest without guilt. That's the key part, because if you were to rest and you still carried guilt, that means cortisol still is running in the background. And so just like the trees, they're shedding their leaves and letting go of what's no longer serving them. That's what you need to do. Let go of everything that's not serving you anymore. And let go of other people's expectations of you or their opinions of you. You can't make everyone happy and you're not meant to, right? And as I mentioned, for me, it was a lot of it was self-imposed. So let go of your own expectations of yourself, your opinions of yourself, and literally just let yourself rest. And sometimes that's hard. So even if you just set a timer, 30 minutes each week, right? You'll eventually your body will start craving more of what you give it. So once a week, take a few minutes to reset, map it out on your schedule because sometimes I like to do blocks of like 2 hour work times and then just give myself like a 15-minute. I'm going to drink some water. I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'm just going to do some things where it's just me so that I can reset. Um, and these are things that don't need your attention. Like you don't want to put any attention on anything that needs you in that moment. Just literally let yourself reset. And it's okay to adjust your goals for each season for what it looks like, what the demands are for you in that season. And then restart. Just focus on some small, controllable habits. Things like for me, I started with something totally controllable and small, and that was just hydrating. That's literally all I chose to do. Just taking short breaks to drink some water throughout the day. You can set a timer on your phone. But remember, it's not so much about what you're doing, what you choose in your micro habit to change, but it's just staying consistent. Those atomic habits or those mini habits, if you could just find a micro way to get that habit back into your life. And immediately I started hydrating, my muscles quit aching, I started sleeping better, I started having more energy again. And so just that little bit. So ease back into your routine. Don't rush back in, but just take on one sustainable thing that you can honor your body, honor your mind, and honor your spirit right now. So I challenge you, look at those 3 R's this week, take on one of them. Don't try to necessarily do them all, right? Every time I give you a list of things to do, just take what works for you and throw out the rest. I don't try to give you these things just so that I can overwhelm you with more, right? I don't want to keep you busy. So just go ahead and embrace the idea of letting go and you'll know what you need to do. Okay, so after several weeks of feeling this overwhelm and trying to do it all, I had this big revelation. Like, what if I jumped in and did the bare minimum? Because it bothered me because I care so much about you guys. It bothered me that I skipped 2 weeks of live streams. Our computer broke, my email was broke, so I didn't have the software to do the editing. And so I let that be my excuse, but it still ate up inside of me. But it was like, what's the worst thing that could happen is that I start back right where I left off. And so that's what I'm doing, right? And it's okay. The world didn't fall apart. And so during that time frame, I focused on just trying to go to bed at normal hour and just hydrating. And guess what? It totally worked. My energy, it started to return. My skin, it started to get better again. I wish I had taken a photo of when it was totally dry and cracked. I had done some Marco Polos with some friends, and they were like, "Woo, girl, you're not taking care of yourself right now." I love that I have friends who are honest with me. I hope that that's me right now for you is just saying, woo, girl, just take care of yourself. Like, you're really important. You have a lot of worth, and it's just important that you do these things. So these stress busting habits that I want to share with you, they're meant to help you regain that balance and to revive your skin, your health, your spirit, your mind by just starting simple. All of them, I think, are free. But have you ever noticed just a small change, just a small thing, that little thread that keeps pulling, like drinking more water, it can make a big difference in your life. And so if there is something small that you have done in your lifetime, please leave it in the comments to help everyone else out. And maybe we'll make an entire episode about it because like these things are really important to reduce the stress on our bodies. So when we're constantly pushing, we miss those subtle cues from our bodies. And of course, like I said, nature, we miss the cues to slow down. And then we go against the grain, trying to do it all. And sometimes doing less is exactly what we need. And it feels counterintuitive. It feels totally wrong. It feels like you won't make your deadline or you won't get the thing done. And what's interesting is I almost always come through it having gotten more done than I would have if I had just tried pushing through. So ignoring these cues It really does us no favors. It keeps us in that state of stress that ages us, but it also robs us of life's beauty. So here I was so stressed out in the last couple of weeks, missing out on this beauty of the fall season. Fall is one of my favorite seasons. Thankfully, I didn't miss all of the leaves changing yet, and I was able to get this stress under control so that I can take on the rest of the fall season and enjoy its beauty for what it all is. But I found as soon as I stopped fighting against the natural flow, I was and focused on the basics. It was like everything just came back together. It was like your body and your mind and your spirit, it always wants to find symbiosis. It wants to find that balancing place. And balance is hard to find. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that it's easy to find, but if you just start with one little simple thing, you'll get yourself there. So here's a couple of things. We talked about that intentional breathing and walked through it. So we covered it, but remember that taking just a few minutes to focus on that breath can really help reset that your body's stress response system. Practice it daily. Just 2 minutes a day. That's not hard to do. You can do it while you're doing dishes. You can do it while you're in the car. You really can just do it anywhere. If you're in a board meeting or you're in some kind of place, just literally breathe through it. And when you are on the exhale, just imagine and visualize inside letting go of whatever is holding that stress on in your life. Okay. The thing that you no longer need anymore. I promise it's doing you no favors. So, also hydration. We've talked about it a lot in this one because I'm a water hydration nerd. Okay. I think it's the answer to so many of life's problems, but make sure you're drinking enough water. Dehydration, it doesn't just affect your skin, it affects your mood, it impacts your energy. So just make sure that you're taking time for it. Like I said, set an alarm. Think of it as that nourishing your body like the rain when it comes down and nourishes the ground and the earth, right? Like you need that. Hydration is so important. And then, of course, it wouldn't be a Making Life Beautiful Again episode if I didn't talk about just the value of skincare. You know, skincare, so many people, they tell me, I don't have time to put in for skincare. I promise my routine is anywhere from 90 seconds to 2 minutes. It's like 5 to 7 products, but there's something in that 2 minutes that I have for myself that I don't get throughout the day. And as I'm applying those products, I'm literally like massaging and soothing and working the skin and the muscles in my face and just allowing it. And, you know, you can work it in your neck, just allowing it to provide something for you just in those 2 minutes that you don't get throughout the day. In that little gentle massage, it does wonders on just preparing yourself to slow down and rest. So this week, just choose one of those habits. You know, take something that honors your body's need to rest, reset, and let go, right? So which one of these habits are you going to try? I love hearing just your responses. You guys are just brilliant. You have so many great insights, and it's really fun to have a two-way conversation with you. So go ahead and put it in there. Like, what's one of your favorite go-to things for de-stressing and calming? So in today's session, the reminder that you're not meant to carry it all or do it all. Here's the truth. You have all these things that you're carrying in today's load. The Bible reminds us, like those worries and cares and burdens will be there tomorrow. So only take on today's worries and cares, right? So take care of yourself. Put that mask on yourself, like they tell you always on the airplane. Put the mask on yourself before you go on and try to take on the world. Okay? Those cares and worries, they're going to be there tomorrow. So don't go looking for them. They'll find you, right? And then if you're rested, you'll be able to face them a little bit better the next day. Lay those burdens down at his feet, right? All right. So before you go, make sure you join us next Wednesday, 1:30, here in the Making Life Beautiful Again Facebook group for the live stream, because we're going to be talking about a fresh take on sun care. It's not going to be your typical tips and things that you've heard before about sun care. And so I really want you to catch it. So grab a friend, go in and join the group, and we'll see you there.